How many? I'm really good at shocking women.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Sun and EOS Gaming.
That video I sent you is you'll hear it. Whoops. All right. Oh boy.
Oh man, we got 4 faces up there.
Yeah, we do.
I've forgotten everything. I wanted to hear it from you. What are we hearing from her?
Well, there's no law.
Great.
Why?
That's a good question.
Because Solid Sun doesn't remember what we were doing, and now is very confused.
Well, I remember we were unlocking a bunch of shit, but it all went by so fast.
This is the route where everyone betrayed everyone, and now Sigma is on a mission
These rocks
to
look
get
like
people to come together.
before the PS5 renders Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, I can see that.
Remember the crew quarters? Or this garden? We got paired up for 2 separate rounds. That means I spent more time here with my dick, more time with you than anybody else here. Maybe that's it. I guess I'm just
Curious about you.
What are you talking about?
I'm burping. She spun around to hide it, but I caught a blush of red on her cheeks. Every girl in this game is into me. It's definitely how life works, is you got 4 girls into you at once. We walked down the path to where it ended next to the pond. Allow me to shock you with a proposal. Alice, will you take my hand in marriage? Wait, my hand's on my dick. I stayed silent. Alice sat down on the bench. We gazed at the smooth surface of the pond for several long minutes before she began to speak.
You don't hate me?
Oh, it's gonna be one of these talks. What? Why?
I tried to kill you.
You mean in the AB game?
Yes.
Please don't tell me you're turning into
I was
Luna.
so scared. Who
Oh
wouldn't be?
boy.
Kidnapped and locked up, forced to play some sort of bizarre game. And then we found that bomb. I know I probably sounded calm, but as soon as we found that thing, all I wanted to do was run away from it as fast as I could.
Well,
Things just went downhill from there.
I just can't think of anything that you could do to make up for it. What do you mean?
I remember hearing that Quark had collapsed and running to the infirmary with everyone else. When I got there, I realized I couldn't understand what anyone was saying. And everything looked... I don't know how to describe it. It was like watching a video on fast forward, only it was real. Then I started to feel like... It's hard to explain. I guess you could say I didn't feel like I was myself, and it only got worse.
That was probably the Radical 6 and the crack cocaine.
Yes, I think so. I don't remember much after that. But when I woke up in the infirmary, suddenly all that fear was back. So all I could think about was getting out of this place as fast as I could.
She looks like she's about to sneeze. I realize it's supposed to be like
it could kill you.
an emotional thing here.
Yeah.
God help me, even if it had, I don't think I would have cared.
Well, that's
See?
good to know.
I'm horrible.
Yep.
You hate me, don't you?
Yes,
Just
I
do
really
it.
do. What? Do what?
Kill me!
Okay.
Get it over with!
I'll dunk your head in that pond over there. What the hell, Alice? I'm not gonna kill you, at least... Really? I don't even hate you.
You're lying. I could have killed you. I would have killed you.
I can't hear you over these fortissimo strings. Come on, calm down. No one's killing anyone. Except for these strings. They're really killing it.
I love this track. You know what this track is called?
It's called Look at Alice's Knockers for a Very Long Time.
A
A single tear rolled down Alice's cheek. I'm surprised I'm looking at her face. And then another, and another, leaving shining lines across her face. When I reached out, I saw her tense just slightly. And then I also noticed that one boobie was slightly bigger than the other one. And I was like, when Homer's dad is dancing for Hitler.
Oh my god.
Das ist not ein Booby!
Oh my god. Yeah, that was a great episode. We just watched that episode.
Slowly, I brushed my thumb across her across her cheek and off, taking her tears with it.
Why are you doing this? You know, you kind of remind me of my father.
Oh, that's what every guy wants to hear. That's what you were after, right? The people who killed your dad?
Yes.
Well, call me daddy.
Oh, no.
Did they have anything to do with the Meridians?
Will you promise not to tell Clover that I cried?
I'm definitely gonna go back into the AP room and be like, cry baby, cry baby.
If you keep your mouth shut, I'll tell you what you want to know.
That's not really what I want, but okay.
And about the Myrmidons.
You know, even the fucking cameraman is like, let's just look at her tits. They're not even looking at her face anymore.
Sure.
Sure. My lips are sealed.
Really?
Yep, they're sealed right to your tits. What crying? I don't remember any crying.
Good. All right then.
Okay, I'll read
anyway,
all this.
Is that over? Oh god.
Alice took a deep breath.
That's not how you want a story to start, with a deep breath. That's how you know you're really going to be sitting here for a long time.
My father is Egyptian,
Oh,
but my
it's
mother
like
is
you.
French.
Oh,
Yeah, my mom's
it's your
not French.
story. It's baby's story.
They met while my mother was in Egypt on vacation and married shortly thereafter. When I was 3, we all moved to the US. My father was a scientist and his field was cloning.
She was born in the Nile.
Oh my gosh. I was actually born on the Nile. He was recruited by an American lab, which is why we moved. Both of my parents had used English around me from the time I was born, so I didn't have any problems adapting to life in the United States. By my 9th birthday, we'd been there for 6 years. That was when it happened. In the middle of the day, my mother showed up at school. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she didn't say anything to me on the drive home. When we arrived, there were several policemen there to meet us. My father had always been a very punctual man, and when dinner time came and went with no sign of him, even I began to realize something terrible had happened. It wasn't until several years later that I finally learned the truth. My father's lab had been attacked by terrorists, and he had been kidnapped. For the rest of my childhood, my mother raised me by herself. I didn't realize it then, but it must have been incredibly difficult for her, and as a single mother alone in a country where any relatives were a transatlantic flight away, she did her best not to let me see it, but every so often when she thought she was alone, the mask would fall away, and in every line of her face I could see exhaustion and loneliness. As much as I missed my father, it was those moments that made me wish more than anything that he'd never been taken. Fortunately, I was an excellent student and did especially well in math. I earned a full-ride scholarship straight out of high school and spent the next several years studying. After graduation, I took a job with the Department of Defense, hoping that they might have the resources to help me look for my father. I was immediately assigned to the Special Offices of Internal Security. Their purpose is to investigate and sometimes deal with terrorist organizations and other serious threats to the state. I could tell my mother wasn't happy about my decision, but she chose to remain silent about it. Eventually, I learned the terrorist organization that had taken my father was none other than the Myrmidons, although at the time that name didn't mean anything to me. They were suspected of human cloning. Specifically, it was thought that they had been using cloning techniques to copy their most useful members and expand their ranks. The Myrmidons apparently believed that they could use cloning to create a new race of humans.
Actually, they're just copying a race of humans.
Now at last I knew the reason for my father's abduction. The commander of the Myrmidons is a man named Left. We know his name and his gender, but not his appearance or his age. The Myrmidons are closely associated with a cult known as Free the Soul. They're a hippie shoe company. Anyway, we believe that the Free the Soul provides their funding. But trying to pin any...
Oh, it's horrible on the capture.
Yeah, well...
Oh, God. I'm sorry if that sounded awful.
But trying to pin any kind of misdeeds on the cult's leader, a man named Brother, is like trying to nail Jell-O to a wall. Brother is supposed to be fairly advanced in years, and rumors say he's so old he can't even get out of bed. Unfortunately, his mind seems to be as sharp as ever. At that point...
Your mind is as sharp as ever.
That hurts. My knee hurts.
My
hips hurt. They really hurt. At that point, I hit a wall. I knew the Myrmidons had been behind my father's kidnapping, but that was all I could learn about them.
Thankfully, my booby stopped my face from hitting the wall.
Then one day, I got a tip that some of them were hiding in a building in the Nevada desert. I headed out immediately.
Oh, it's that place from that James Bond movie.
On the way there, my car had some engine trouble and stalled out. I was trying to decide what to do when an SUV
That's what
appeared
she
out of nowhere.
wears on a secret mission.
I guess.
Not even shoes.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just... You know. I'll give you one guess who was behind the steering wheel. Clover. That was the first time we met. There were 4 other people in the car with her, and when I asked them what they were doing, I got what was just about the last answer I'd expected. They told me they'd been locked up inside of the very building I'd been on my way to investigate, and that they were currently in pursuit of the people who kidnapped them in the first place. My priorities shifted very quickly. After a short discussion, I convinced them to allow me to come along. My hope was to find the people they were chasing, who I was certain were Myrmidons. In the end, however, we were unable to track them down. In fact, I still don't know where they might have gone. Eventually, I took Clover and her companions to SOAS headquarters. We decided that involving the police would only complicate things. After some questioning, it was determined that the people who had investigated this particular event were not connected to the Myrmidons. We did, however, discover that the mysterious disappearance and subsequent reappearance of several children 9 years prior was connected to Free the Soul. There was also a 6th person in the SUV, although they weren't riding in it per se. A middle-aged man, who I'll just call H for now, had been bound and placed in the trunk. According to the other 4, he had been behind the disappearance of the children 9 years earlier. Oh, wow. We also learned that his pharmaceutical company, a major player on the world stage, was effectively controlled by Free the Soul. More specifically, I suppose, H was a member of Free the Soul and very committed to their cause. So why had he kidnapped all those children? Apparently, I'd been part of an experiment designed to test the ability of certain people to access what's called the morphogenetic field. I don't imagine you've ever heard of it before, so I'll try and give you a quick rundown. Oh boy.
How many paragraphs are going to be on this
Simply put,
page?
these people can access a sort of field that allows their consciousness to resonate with the consciousness of certain other people. To be honest, it might be simpler to just call it telepathy.
Yeah.
The SOAS had heard of this particular ability before, and had actually used it in a number of investigations, so I wasn't surprised to learn of its existence. I was shocked, however, to learn that these experiments had been carried out by a member of Free the Soul. If it was the case, then Brother must have known about it. The thought of him discovering a way to control and harness that power was terrifying. It wasn't too long after the incident in Nevada that another tip about the Myrmidons crossed my desk. This time it claimed that the Myrmidons intended to launch a large-scale biological terrorist
I keep
attack.
thinking it looks like she's... I know it's a clipboard, but the first time I see it, it looks like she's holding like a little baby.
I'm the clipboard baby. My boss has decided that we needed more agents to deal with a threat of that magnitude, and Clover was recruited. What? Because she'd been a test subject in H's experiment, we knew she had the ability to access the morphogenetic field, and we wanted to put that ability to use. Are you okay? What are you saying? I can't hear you. I don't even know what you're saying. After several months of training, she was sent on her first mission. She would be tasked with the infiltration and investigation of a Myrmidon cloning lab. I was assigned to be her commanding officer. I hoped that our investigation might also give me a lead on my father's whereabouts. At last, I had a chance to find out what had happened to him. I wouldn't let that chance pass me by. Perhaps that was what kept me from noticing the truth. The whole operation was a trap. The lab was fake, and Clover was captured almost immediately. I got there as fast as I could, but when I arrived, the building was only an empty shell. All of the conspirators, who had pretended to be researchers and the like, had already fled. I searched frantically for Clover until at last, in a basement, I found her. She had been tied to a chair, but on the floor next to her was another body. It was my father. He looked as if he'd just been dumped there, and when I got to him, his body was already cold. He was covered in dark, ugly bruises. It wasn't until later that I learned he had died from ruptured organs and internal bleeding. They had beaten him to death. As soon as Clover had been captured, a Myrmidon in a mask had come to visit her. He'd said that unless she wanted to end up like my father, she would leave them alone and tell her masters at the SOAS to do likewise. In retrospect, they must have known who I was and who my father was. That was why they'd killed him. Perhaps they thought they were sending a message to me, or that once he was gone, I'd lose my reason for chasing them. They were very, very wrong. I took Clover with me and left. I tried to console myself with the fact that I had at least been able to save her. Sometime later, I received a call from the coroner. He told me there was something I needed to see. There in the morgue was my father, cold and pale on a steel table. I could barely stand to look at him, but the coroner insisted. On his arms were 2 rows of numbers comprised of 8s and 9s. It took me a moment to recognize my father's handwriting. He had carved them into his own skin. On his chest was another message, but they were letters this time, not numbers. Not many, just enough to make a short sentence. I love you, Alice. I broke down crying right there in the morgue. They were the first tears I'd shed since the operation had started, and there was no stopping them. There would be no forgiveness, not for the monsters who put my father through this. They'd destroyed my family. I would make them pay, even if I had to die to do it. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would avenge my father. It didn't take long to figure out that the numbers he'd written were latitude and longitude. They pointed to a chemical factory that had been disguised as an abandoned building. Further investigation revealed that it was the mother lode we'd been looking for, the headquarters of the Myrmidons. I think my father must have known how things would turn out. Knowing he was going to die, he'd written the directions to our enemy's fortress on his own body. He'd sacrificed too much for me to waste this opportunity with recklessness. This time our operation would succeed. This time I wouldn't let my excitement put Clover or any of my other agents in danger. So we took our time. We gathered information, we did our research, and we planned. Finally, we were ready. December 25th, 2028 was going to be the day we finally set foot inside the Myrmidon stronghold. But on the 22nd, only 3 days before the operation, a man in a gas mask appeared.
So you inhaled that gas, passed out, and woke up here in the AB room?
Yes. Well, there it is. Everything that's happened with the Myrmidons and me. I left a few of the details out, of course, but you get the idea.
I didn't get that sense. Yeah. Thanks. This is the river I'm gonna shove my head in now. She gave me a sad sort of smile and stood up. What a beautiful garden. Okay. Not yet. Your story explained a lot, but there's still one big question. Where can I take a poopy? Who here is a Myrmidon? One of us planted the bombs. And based off the code we found, it's pretty clear that person is a Myrmidon. Right?
Yes.
And I agree that we need to figure out who they are. It's Dio.
What do you propose we do?
There's no figuring out. Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Do you have any clues?
Well, if I could decrypt that code, it might tell us something, but...
How can we do that?
I told you. We need a key. Without that, it's pointless.
I definitely trust you enough to work together after you tried to kill me. What's a key?
A key is a key. It allows you to sort of unlock a code. The Myrmidons usually use this huge string of numbers as a key.
Wait, a long string of numbers?
Oh, this is one of my favorite moments.
Could that be...
Oh my god, this is one of my favorite moments in this whole game.
Does he remember it?
Yes. Exactly. You should read it all out loud.
No, that's alright. I'll just recite all the digits of pi. 3.147684642.
What the hell?
He was convicted of a string of numbers. So we just big unlock.
Funny stuff. What the hell?
That was Alice's line, dear.
What the hell? I was almost as surprised as she was.
This is one of, oh my god, I love this moment so much.
The numbers had just kind of appeared in my mind, and I was saying them before I knew what I was doing, because I'm so awesome, and I remember things from episode 5 of Sun and Neos Gaming. Alice looked at me incredulously, and I stared back.
Wait. Can you say that again?
Yeah. Here we go. Yep, that's it.
That's 198,449,351 to the third power.
And you just know that. What?
That number you just told me. Prime factor decomposition on that number gets you 198,449,351 to the third power.
You're talking to reducing an integer to a series of prime numbers that you multiply together to get it, right? Like, if you have 30, then you get 2 times 3 times 5, right?
Exactly.
Oh, look at them
Oh my
explaining the
god,
math.
dude. Actually, I learned it right here on the show. So you're saying that is a prime? And if you multiply it by
In
itself
case
3
no one knows
times,
exponents.
you'd get...
Yes.
Cool. Don't tell me you just did all that in your head.
I did do all of that in my head. Simple
Wow.
mental arithmetic.
Simple, huh? No way. That's impossible.
I told you, I'm better at math than most people.
Okay. Let me do some math. Alice minus 1 shirt equals booby girl Twitch streamer.
You just recited a huge string of numbers. That seems pretty astounding too.
Well, that's what I do. I astound
Where did you
women.
find that number anyway?
It was written on the side of my dick. My dick is big enough to have all those numbers on it. What do you think about that? Calculate
Yeah,
that
totally,
dick.
huh? Fine. I'm pretty sure that's the key to the code, though.
Yeah.
A lot of the Myrmidons use prime factors for their keys. And there aren't a lot of 25-digit numbers that turn out to be the third power of a prime number. I think there's a very good chance that number you memorized was specifically created by someone.
Could you explain that with oh my god, dude.
Look at the prime factors of your number.
Okay.
198,449,351 to the third power. I think that's our hint for cracking the code. You still don't get it? Try to remember the code we saw in the infirmary. What did it say on the monitor?
I think the first row was. Wait. I think my phone's ringing. Sorry, I gotta take this outside of the garden. You stay here. I'll be back in like 3 hours, okay?
This was like one of my favorite moments because it's just so
The
ridiculous.
second row.
He just remembers this? Why does he remember this?
It says
There's
bring
no
your
way.
own liquor.
There's no
BYOL.
way. Bring your own liquor. Yeah, I wish I had.
I think.
Yeah.
Didn't they just repeat?
I wish I'd brought my own
Wow, you've got a
lesbian.
pretty impressive
Jesus.
Memory. We could really use someone like you back at the.
Well, keep going. How do we decode that?
You use 198,449,351 to point you to the right letters.
How do we do that?
Well, the first number is 1, so take the first letter. The next number is 9, so go 9 letters over from the first one. Then 8 from that one. Just keep going until you get something. Make sense?
That seems like how they wrote this game. Just keep going until you get something.
I ran
Just
over
keep
what
writing
she'd
it and
said
eventually something's
in
gonna
my
happen.
head. Well, it's not random. The prime number Alice had given me was 198,449,351. So, what would we get if we picked out letters like she'd explained? The first letter would be C, then you'd move on to get O, and then 8 more to the right. Eventually, we'd get a word, and that word was
Fail and the game is over?
yeah.
Why is
the
it
game will
giving
end.
us 6
Hang on.
chances to do this?
Give me a squishy.
A what?
Okay. C one.
Give me a what?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Crystalios wants a squishy.
Oh.
If we guys give you an address, you can send her as many squishies as you want. Here's our address. 198449351 Zero Escape Avenue. Egypt.
Okay.
An English street name in Egypt. Completed. Oh,
Okay.
I just completed all over this.
I needed
Alice
a
was telling her
pointer.
story, I completed 5 times. If you know what I mean. I did it.
Completed. That's
How did
it.
you wait?
That's
How
the answer.
did you actually solve that, or did
Yeah,
you just know it?
No, I had to. I had to
Oh,
jog my
while
memory.
I was giving nonsense. Crystal
Well,
Eos was
my
going into.
squishy was I needed a pointer to like
Crystal
count.
Eos was one of the. Crystal Eos is one of these beautiful mind people. She's a genius,
Sure.
and she can do all this stuff.
I'm just kind of here. I play regular video games.
Well, I used to be like. I used to like. Anyway.
I used to be genius. Now I'm only 2/3 genius. Yeah, I did exactly what you told me to do, and the word I got is completed. Well, actually, it's completed. The code and the letters repeat every 2 lines. It just repeats. Kind of like.
I can't remember the code
Never.
like you can, but if you're certain, I believe you.
You can't remember 3 words, but you can do that fucking like math in your
Alright
head.
then. I wonder
Well,
what
back in my
computer
math
is
bowl
to me.
days, and like mu alpha theta days,
It's what I
What?
thought you brought me to the garden to do. I thought we were gonna complete together. What? Aside from the obvious, you mean? I'm guessing here it means mission complete.
it was all about finding like a lot of the competitive stuff was large scale patterns.
So that's what the transmitter was for.
If you can find those large scale patterns, you can do this. I mean, not maybe not this kind of math, but pretty like impressive
What are you
mental
talking
math.
about? What transmitter?
Well, yeah, it's all about patterns and just knowing tendencies. But yeah, you can become fluent in anything if you just practice it enough. I barely even heard her. Suddenly, my mind was full of memories that hadn't been there a moment before. It was like a wave had crashed away the sand. I don't know where I got any of those.
Precious gems, like my
I
beautiful.
was like half reading,
engagement
half thinking
ring.
about something else.
Well, yeah, I used to do the like math league competitions back in the day, like back in high school.
I've never done one. Is it fun?
Well, I was math. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Really?
Oh my god, yeah.
They don't look very fun.
Holy brother, holy master,
I
Holy bullshit.
mission is at last complete. With these 2 hands, mankind is saved.
I always was on the calculus team
Oh, I see.
because that was the like fastest for me. Like calculus was always kind of my.
I've never taken a calculus course.
Oh, I can
my
teach
last
you.
math course ever was in high school, and it was like
Oh.
trigonometry. That's my highest level of math knowledge.
I don't know how
I was
to
okay at math.
quantify my math knowledge because I have like not only a math bachelor's, I also have 1 year of like graduate like piggyback courses.
Oh, okay.
The like upper level undergraduate first year master's stuff.
Yeah.
And those were like, I did combinatorics, I did theory of computation, I did real and complex analysis,
I
algebra,
do simple analysis.
topology, discrete structures. Like, I don't know, like, how do you quantify one as being more advanced than the other?
Girl, your structures are discrete.
Oh, thanks.
Damn it, why hadn't I realized it before? I can remember a series of numbers, but not this. At least I remembered it now. Dio was a member of the Meridians. And not just any member, he was their leader. I find that hard to believe.
That meant he
He's
had
way too, like, stupid.
to be the one who planted the bombs.
Hey, are you listening to me?
Yeah.
Then answer my question.
I'm half and half
What was
listening to
that?
you.
What's this about a transmitter?
I didn't trust myself to try and explain it to her. More than likely, she'd just think I was insane.
I love this ending so much.
Even I could barely make sense of the sudden influx of new information. That's how I feel about this game.
Don't tell me you're one of the Myrmidons.
If I was, do you really think I'd reveal myself like this?
Point.
Out of nowhere, Clover appeared. Blip! I mean, I can pick up on math stuff too pretty fast. I just don't have a lot of experience with complex
there you
math.
Well, when you study like pure mathematics on the academic level, it's not about computation unless you go into computational mathematics or computational physics. It's about
Yeah,
the
it has so many
abstraction.
uses.
It's about theory.
Yeah, sure. And that's interesting to me.
It's way
Yeah,
more fun.
I've been looking all over for you.
I can teach you some time. Now that we're getting married, I have a lifetime to learn about pure mathematics.
Oh boy, keep talking dirty to me.
I mean, it's what I've been spending my time when we're not together. I've been like touching up on all my undergrad stuff.
Let's go multiply.
Ah, I get it. It's a make babies joke. It's funny.
Really?
It's funny because it's like a double entendre where you're using basic arithmetical like metaphors for baby making.
Are you listening to this,
We're all
Clover?
down on the floor B warehouse. Well, all of us but Luna.
It's funnier when you explain it, right?
I know. It's great.
Why?
Well, see, I'm gonna get even more eccentric as I dive deeper into the rabbit hole that is the field of mathematics. Like, the weird is gonna really start to come out.
We still got 45 minutes until the white doors open.
I know that.
I was arguably my weirdest when I was a math major.
Oh.
Okay. Hey, wait a minute. I thought you, Kay, and Quark didn't know about the white doors?
Tenmyoji told us about them.
Okay.
He said he'd show us where they were, so we all followed him down to the floor B warehouse.
Yay.
I'm assuming you left Quark with Luna?
Yeah, anyway, when we showed up, Phi and Kay were already there.
So,
All of a sudden, Phi, Tenmyoji, and Dio all started yelling at each other.
what?
Why? Did something happen?
According to Clover, the last AB game had been the cause of the fight. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just automatic. Even though Tenmyoji only had one BP, Phi had chosen Betray. They started to fight, and since Dio had pressed Betray on behalf of his team, eventually he got dragged in too.
That seems odd. Phi only had one BP too. Troy seems like a perfectly valid defensive move.
Ugh, just come with me. Kay's trying to calm them down, but there's only one of him.
Come on, Alice, let's go!
Coming.
I really like Alice. I really like her backstory. It's one of the most interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, hers was like actually sad.
It is really sad.
I didn't really care for Tenmyoji's that felt forced.
Well, Tenmyoji's
And Luna, I wasn't
We don't-
listening to. In
we don't
fairness.
have her backstory
So-
yet.
Oh,
Not
okay,
her full
all right.
backstory. We just know that she likes the little blue bird.
Yeah, and Clover didn't really give us like a life story. She was just kind of telling us about her work. So
And her nonary. But this is her third nonary game.
yeah, but Alice's was actually kind of like
I really like it. I think
Yeah.
it's really like the best.
yeah. That I felt that one was pretty good. All four of them were still there when we arrived. They seemed to have calmed down a bit, but the tension in the air was almost visible. I felt like I'd stepped into a room of flammable gas. Even the smallest spark could turn the whole place into a raging inferno. Even Kay, usually so calm and collected, was standing ramrod straight. Ramrod straight. With his hand on his ramrod balls.
Ramrod?
And a fist at his side.
Ramrod?
I looked at Alice, pursed
Pursed
my lips, and then headed over to the angry knot of people occupying most of the room.
Ramrod?
So naughty. Clover, tell me what's going on. This whole thing is stupid. You need to knock it off.
Stupid?
That's a good way to
What about this
de-escalate.
is stupid? We're talking about my life, you self-righteous dick.
Sorry. That's just
Say dick again. But yelling at each other isn't going to solve your problem. The best thing for us to do right now is to trust each other and get through this. Wouldn't you agree?
Hard to trust someone who tried to kill me.
Yeah.
Same to you. I told you letting Dio vote was a stupid idea. What did you think he was gonna do? You might as well have pressed the button yourself.
I couldn't just leave Quark alone.
That's no excuse. And where do you get off telling me I shouldn't have picked Betray? Did you even think that through? What, I was supposed to pick Ally? If I'd done that, I'd be dead right now.
I could say the same thing to you. Damn good thing Dio didn't choose Ally.
Please, that's enough from both of you. Cygnus right. This isn't the time to be bickering with each other.
Oh, you don't get to talk. You tried to betray Clover and escape on your own.
Perhaps. But I think that's better than merely killing someone.
Well, I only did it so that she wouldn't kill Tenmyoji.
Oh, god damn it. You're all fuckfaces. Enough already. I roared with fury. And my voice echoed and rebounded off the walls of the warehouse. Everyone fell silent. The audacity readout looked stupid. I didn't know how long that silence would last, so I decided to put it all on the table. I unzipped my pants, and there was only one way I was going to be able to take control of the situation. Zip. Guys, Listen to me. We really don't have time for this. I was met with a number of glares, but I soldiered on. See, the thing is, I figured out who planted the bombs.
What? Is this what you were talking about earlier?
Yep. But I like to be dramatic. Sort of, yeah. I know which one of you it is.
Well, spit it out then.
Please, explain what's going on here.
I don't think I need to. They're going to admit their guilt in just a few minutes.
Oh, this is so great.
What?
You're all going to hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
The dark horse's
And
mouth.
the donkey's mouth. Or I guess I should say Dio's mouth.
What are you on? You think I set those bombs?
Yes, I do. In fact, I know
If
it.
you're gonna accuse me, you better have some pretty damn good evidence, pal.
I'm not accusing you. I'm just stating a fact.
Oh, yeah?
Wow.
Where the hell did you get that fact?
Fun as it was, I knew taunting alone wouldn't be enough to make Dio confess. He just played dumb. He was good at it, and I get nothing. That meant I was going to have to trick him. Well, you see, I'm actually from Free the Soul.
Free the Soul? What's that? Some kind of hippie shoe company?
That's what you said earlier. Don't play dumb, Dio. Or should I call you Lefty? What?
Yeah.
Brother ordered me to come here. To keep an eye on you. It was quick, but for just a moment I saw his eyes twitch. I leapt on that moment of weakness like a hungry dog on a steak. Wow, fine. Skepticism is understandable, admirable even. But perhaps this will convince you. I pressed forward, pulling out every fact I could remember. I told Dio about Brother's background and how his younger brother Left had been murdered. I mentioned casually that the Meridians were all clones of a single person. So, still not convinced? How about this? So, blah, blah, blah. Do a little prime factor decomposition on that, and you get blah, 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 to the third power. If I'm not who I say I am, how on earth could I possibly know that?
What? No, that's not possible.
Finally. So, let's start over, shall we? I was sent here to watch your every move. It seems our wise and noble brother doesn't trust you. He suspects betrayal.
No! You're lying!
I assure you I'm not. But if you don't believe me, why don't you go outside and call him yourself with your transmitter?
No! No! You have to be lying! Brother trusts me! That's why he chose me for this mission! Why would he make me the leader of the Myrmidons if he...
Huh? Sorry, what was that?
I said, why would he have made me the leader of the Myrmidons if...
Heh. I grinned.
Wait. What the hell? Are you fucking kidding me?
Sorry, Dio. I've never even seen Brother.
What the hell was all that? How did you know all those things?
Dunno, maybe I was divinely inspired?
Give me that shit!
What's going on?
What are these Myrmidons?
Dio and I stared at one another while Clover and Ted Miyoji quickly explained to Phi and K about the memory card and the number 2 bomb about the go we found was from a terrorist organization called the Meridians. God.
So you mean to say someone from the Myrmidons planted the bombs?
Yep.
And Dio pretty much just admitted to doing it?
Yep.
Yes, he did, because he's dumb.
Yep.
Bastards. I'll never forgive you.
I heard a low, furious muttering behind me and turned to see Alice, her lips pulled back into a snarl.
I am going to kill you!
Let her rip. Her voice rose to a scream as she charged toward Dio. Yes, he ducked out of the way smoothly and pulled something from his pocket.
Whoa there. I like my women a little feisty, but you're taking it a little too far, sweetheart.
What?
Down.
What?
You see this? You know what it is,
Oh,
don't you?
I see.
Oh my god. Is that the detonator?
It's the new Calvin Klein perfume for
I assume
men.
you know what happens if I press this button?
Yes. I think I do. I'm guessing it'll set off both of the bombs.
Well, I wouldn't say both.
You mean there's still a number one bomb we haven't found?
Correct. And there's one more, too.
No. There are 4 bombs?
Exactly. I planted 4 bombs. They're the ones numbered 1, 2, and 3, but there's also one more, bomb number 0. Add all that up, and you're looking at about 4 tons of explosive power. Those go off, and it's all over. That's enough oomph to turn this whole place into a smoking crater.
Aren't you forgetting something?
That'd kill you too.
So, I'm ready for that. I've got spares.
Spares? Is that what
Oh
Sigma
my
was talking about?
god.
Yeah, clones.
It's the Genome Army. I heard Alice whisper something to Clover.
Let's go, Clover. Show him all that training wasn't for nothing.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Right.
Clover's a little bit of an imbecile.
I've been trained. Before I had a chance to ask them what was going on, they moved.
Die, you bastard!
Oh yeah, good telegraphing. She roared and leapt toward Dio, Clover following just behind. Alice threw a punch in Dio's face, and as he dodged, Clover spun out from behind her. My god. Dio grunted and turned to focus on Alice, but Clover darted in and snatched the detonator from his hand. It was that easy.
Clover, get him! Right!
Sigma, catch!
Do not throw a detonator at me. Before I could respond, Clover had thrown the detonator at me. I scrambled to grab it out of the air and held it to my chest.
What if he accidentally hit the button? in
Exactly. What if it fell on the floor? What if it's like a dead man switch?
Stop! Let me go!
Although I think they said it wasn't.
Still
But
let go of me, you asshole!
yelling didn't do him any good, and Dio found himself subdued by the skillful teamwork of Alice and Clover. Strangely though, once they had a hold of him, he stopped struggling. I was reminded of a gazelle with its neck in the mouth of a lion. What a weird description. Had he surrendered? Or did he have some trick up his sleeve? It didn't feel right. I didn't have to wait long for my misgivings to prove true. The detonator in my hand suddenly began to flash. It is a dead man switch. What?
Ha! Serves you right.
What are you laughing at?
You, her, all of you. God, you're stupid.
What?
No, you're stupid.
Why?
See that detonator you threw to Sigma? You activated it. If it gets more than a meter away from me, it sets itself off. We figured someone might try to take it away, so we put in a little safeguard. Since you two were kind enough to take it away from me, the bombs have gone from remote control to countdown timer. Go ahead and destroy the detonator if you want. Won't make any difference now. The bombs are gonna go off no matter what.
How long do we have?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Oh no.
My condolences.
But what can we do to stop them?
I told you that already. First, we need the device that allows us to input information. Then we plug it into each bomb and enter the codes.
Hey Alice, who the hell are you? How do you know all this?
None of your damn business. Just tell me where the input device is.
Well, that's none of your damn business.
Jesus.
Stop! You're gonna break it!
Of course. That's the plan.
Please, stop!
Just tell me what I want to know.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's in my coat. The right-hand pocket.
Clover, check it out. Right.
She nodded and started digging through his pockets, and we'll find out what it is next time on Son of Dios Gaming.
Oh, okay.
Ultimate cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys there. We get to see what's in Dio's right pocket.
Yeah.
It's another detonator.
You're right. In his pants. It's the detonator in his pants.